Section 1 from the book of Genesis. I came today to the spring and said, Forever One, the God of my master Abraham, if indeed you are prospering the journey which I'm on, behold, I'm standing by this spring of water. Let it happen that the maiden who comes out to draw, to whom I will say, Please give me a little water from your pitcher to drink, and then she says to me, Drink, and I will also draw for your camels. Let her be the woman whom Forever One has appointed for my master's son. Before I had finished speaking in my heart, behold, Rebekah came out with her pitcher on her shoulder. She went down to the spring and drew. I said to her, Please let me drink. She hurried and let down her pitcher from her shoulder and said, Drink, and I will also give your camels a drink. So I drank, and she also gave the camels a drink. I asked her and said, Whose daughter are you? She said, The daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bore to him. I put the ring on her nose and the bracelets on her hands. I bowed my head and worshipped Forever One and blessed Forever One, the God of my master Abraham, who had led me in the right way to take my master's brother's daughter for his son. Now, if you will deal kindly and truly with my master, tell me. If not, tell me, that I may turn to the right hand or to the left. Then Laban and Bethuel answered, The thing proceeds from Forever One. We can't speak to you, bad or good. Behold, Rebekah is before you. Take her and go, and let her be your master's son's wife, as Forever One has spoken. When Abraham's servant heard their words, he bowed himself down to the earth to Forever One. The servant brought out jewels of silver and jewels of gold and clothing, and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave precious things to her brother and her mother. They ate and drank, he and the men who were with him, and stayed all night. They rose up in the morning, and he said, Send me away to my master. Her brother and her mother said, Let the young lady stay with us a few days, at least 10. After that she will go. He said to them, Don't hinder me, since Forever One has prospered my way. Send me away that I may go to my master. They said, We will call the young lady and ask her. They called Rebekah and said to her, Will you go with this man? She said, I will go. They sent away Rebekah their sister with her nurse, Abraham's servant, and his men. They blessed Rebekah and said to her, Our sister, may you be the mother of thousands of 10,000s, and let your offspring possess the gate of those who hate them. Section 2 from the book of Judges. Abimelech rose up, and all the people who were with him by night, and they laid wait against Shechem in 4 companies. Gaal the son of Ebed went out and stood in the entrance of the gate of the city, and Abimelech rose up, and the people who were with him from the ambush. When Gaal saw the people, he said to Zebul, Behold, people are coming down from the tops of the mountains. Zebul said to him, You see the shadow of the mountains as if they were men. Gaal spoke again and said, Behold, people are coming down by the middle of the land, and one company comes by the way of the oak of Meonanim. Then Zebul said to him, Now, where is your mouth that you said, Who is Abimelech, that we should serve him? Isn't this the people that you have despised? Please go out now and fight with them. Gaal went out before the men of Shechem and fought with Abimelech. Abimelech pursued him, and he fled before him, and many fell wounded, even to the entrance of the gate. Abimelech lived at Arumah, and Zebul drove out Gaal and his brothers, that they should not dwell in Shechem. The next day the people went out into the field, and they told Abimelech. He took the people and divided them into 3 companies, and laid wait in the field. And he looked, and behold, the people came out of the city. He rose up against them and struck them. Abimelech and the companies that were with him rushed forward and stood in the entrance of the gate of the city, and the 2 companies rushed on all who were in the field and struck them. Abimelech fought against the city all that day, and he took the city and killed the people who were in it, and he beat down the city and sowed it with salt. When all the men of the tower of Shechem heard of it, they entered into the stronghold of the house of El-Berith. Abimelech was told that all the men of the tower of Shechem were gathered there. Abimelech went up to Mount Zalmon, he and all the people who were with him. And Abimelech took an axe in his hand, and cut down a bough from the trees, and took it up, and laid it on his shoulder. And he said to the people who were with him, "What you have seen me do, make haste, and do as I have done." All the people likewise each cut down his bough, and followed Abimelech, and put them at the base of the stronghold, and set the stronghold on fire on them, so that all the people of the tower of Shechem died also, about 1,000 men and women. Then went Abimelech to Thebez, and encamped against Thebez, and took it. But there was a strong tower within the city, and all the men and women fled there, and all those of the city, and shut themselves in, and went up to the roof of the tower. Abimelech came to the tower, and fought against it, and drew near to the door of the tower to burn it with fire. A certain woman cast an upper millstone on Abimelech's head, and broke his skull. Then he called hastily to the young man his armor-bearer, and said to him, "Draw your sword, and kill me, that men not say, 'A woman killed me.'" His young man thrust him through, and he died. When the men of Israel saw that Abimelech was dead, they departed every man to his place. Thus God requited the wickedness of Abimelech, which he did to his father in killing his 70 brothers. And all the wickedness of the men of Shechem did God requite on their heads. And on them came the curse of Jotham the son of Jerubbaal. After Abimelech there arose to save Israel Tola the son of Puah, the son of Dodo, a man of Issachar, and he lived in Shamir in the hill country of Ephraim. He judged Israel 23 years, and died, and was buried in Shamir. After him arose Jair the Gileadite, and he judged Israel 22 years. He had 30 sons who rode on 30 donkey colts, and they had 30 cities, which are called Havoth Jair to this day, which are in the land of Gilead. Jair died, and was buried in Carmon. Section 3, from the first book of Chronicles. Satan stood up against Israel, and moved David to number Israel. David said to Joab and to the princes of the people, "Go, number Israel from Beersheba even to Dan, and bring me word, that I may know the sum of them." Joab said, "May for everyone make his people 100 times as many as they are. But my lord the king, aren't they all my lord's servants? Why does my lord require this thing? Why will he be a cause of guilt to Israel?" Nevertheless the king's word prevailed against Joab. Therefore Joab departed, and went through all Israel, and came to Jerusalem. Joab gave up the sum of the numbering of the people to David. All those of Israel were 1,100,000 men who drew sword, and in Judah were 470,000 men who drew sword. But he didn't count Levi and Benjamin among them, for the king's word was abominable to Joab. God was displeased with this thing. Therefore he struck Israel. David said to God, "I have sinned greatly in that I have done this thing. But now put away, I beg you, the iniquity of your servant, for I have done very foolishly." For everyone spoke to Gad, David's seer, saying, "Go and speak to David, saying, 'Thus says for everyone, I offer you 3 things. Choose one of them, that I may do it to you.'" So Gad came to David and said to him, "Thus says for everyone, take your choice, either 3 years of famine, or 3 months to be consumed before your foes, while the sword of your enemies overtakes you, or else 3 days, the sword of for everyone, even pestilence in the land, and the angel of for everyone destroying throughout all the borders of Israel. Now therefore, consider what answer I shall return to him who sent me." David said to Gad, "I am in distress. Let me fall, I pray, into the hand of for everyone, for his mercies are very great. Let me not fall into the hand of man." So for everyone sent a pestilence on Israel, and 70,000 men of Israel fell. God sent an angel to Jerusalem to destroy it. As he was about to destroy, Forever One saw, and he relented of the disaster, and said to the destroying angel, "It is enough. Now stay your hand." The angel of Forever One was standing by the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. David lifted up his eyes and saw the angel of Forever One standing between earth and the sky, having a drawn sword in his hand, stretched out over Jerusalem. Then David and the elders, clothed in sackcloth, fell on their faces. David said to God, "Isn't it I who commanded the people to be counted? It is even I who have sinned and done very wickedly. But these sheep, what have they done? Please let your hand, O Forever One, my God, be against me and against my father's house, but not against your people, that they should be plagued." Section 4 from the book of Matthew. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you tithe mint, dill, and cumin, and have left undone the weightier matters of the law, justice, mercy, and faith. But you ought to have done these, and not to have left the other undone. You blind guides, you strain out a gnat and swallow a camel. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you clean the outside of the cup and the platter, but within they are full of extortion and unrighteousness. You blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and of the platter, that the outside may also become clean. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like whitened tombs, which outwardly appear beautiful, but inwardly are full of dead men's bones and of all uncleanness. Even so, you also outwardly appear righteous to men, but inwardly you are full of hypocrisy and iniquity. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you build the tombs of the prophets and decorate the tombs of the righteous, and say, "If we had lived in the days of our fathers, we wouldn't have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets." So you testify to yourselves that you are children of those who killed the prophets. Fill up then the measure of your fathers. You serpents, you offspring of vipers, how will you escape the judgment of Gehenna? So behold, I send to you prophets, wise men, and scribes. Some of them you will kill and crucify, and some of them you will scourge in your synagogues and persecute from city to city, that on you may come all the righteous blood shed on the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel to the blood of Zechariah, son of Berechiah, whom you killed between the sanctuary and the altar. Most certainly I tell you, all these things will come upon this generation. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, who kills the prophets and stones those who are sent to her, how often I would have gathered your children together, even as a hen gathers her chicks under her wings, and you wouldn't let me. Behold, your house is left to you desolate. For I tell you, you will not see me from now on until you say, "Blessed is he who comes in the name of Forever One."